For over 3 centuries, a single word carried fear across Europe: Vikings. But the true story behind that word is far more complex and far more astonishing than the legend of horned helmets and endless raids. This is the real Viking Age. A world of explorers, traders, settlers, poets, warrior queens, and kings who changed history in ways few civilizations ever have. The world before the storm. The year is 793 AD. Europe is a quiet but fragile mosaic of small kingdoms and monasteries. Christianity is spreading, literacy is rare, and most people never travel more than a few kilometers from their homes. Then, the storm arrives. On the remote island of Lindisfarne, Northumbrian monks awaken to something they have never seen before: sleek wooden ships slicing through the waves, carrying tall, pale-haired men with axes glinting under the rising sun. The attack lasts minutes. The message lasts centuries. To Christian chroniclers, these invaders were wolves from the sea, demons from the north, the scourge of God. Thus began the Viking Age. But who were these men? And why did they suddenly explode into the world stage? Chapter 1: Who were the Vikings really? The Vikings were not a single tribe or nation. They were Scandinavian peoples, from modern-day Norway, Sweden, and Denmark, bound not by ethnicity but by a way of life. A Viking was not an identity. It was a profession. To go a Viking meant to travel, raid, explore, trade, or seek new fortunes across the sea. Many Vikings were farmers. Some were traders. A few were kings. And some, those who wrote themselves into legend, were warriors, pirates, and adventurers who pushed beyond the edges of the known world. Their society valued courage, honor, loyalty, strength, and surprisingly, law. The Norse had complex legal assemblies called the Thing, where disputes were settled publicly and without bloodshed. They were more than raiders. They were builders, engineers, navigators, poets, and dreamers. Chapter 2: Why did the Vikings leave home? Scandinavia was breathtaking but brutal. Long winters, short growing seasons, and limited farmland pushed young men to seek wealth elsewhere. But this wasn't just about poverty or survival. The Viking expansion was also fueled by technological advances, especially the Viking longship, a masterpiece of flexibility and speed. Political competition: ambitious chieftains sought glory to rise in status. Trade opportunities: silver from the Islamic world, furs from the north, slaves from Europe. Population growth leading to migration and settlement. And so the Norse began to spread west, east, and south, carving 3 main routes that reshaped continents. Chapter 3: The Western Voyages: Raiders, Settlers, and Explorers. We often imagine Vikings burning monasteries and pillaging villages. And yes, many did. But their western journeys accomplished something far greater. The British Isles. From England to Scotland, Ireland, and Wales, Viking influence was profound. They founded cities like Dublin, shaped local languages, and even ruled large regions such as the Danelaw in England. The most famous was Ragnar Lothbrok, a legendary hero whose sons would invade England with the Great Heathen Army. Iceland, the land of fire and ice. In the late 800s, Norse families fled political conflicts in Norway and discovered Iceland, a vast, untouched island. They built farms, established a parliament, and created one of the world's most important literary traditions, the Icelandic sagas, dramatic stories of love, betrayal, feuds, and heroism. Greenland, the frozen frontier. Led by Eric the Red, Vikings pushed even farther, settling the icy coasts of Greenland. Life was harsh, but they survived for centuries, hunting and trading walrus ivory. North America, 500 years before Columbus. Around the year 1000, Leif Erikson sailed west and reached Vinland, in modern-day Canada. This made the Vikings the first Europeans known to set foot in North America. Their stay was short-lived, but the achievement remains one of the greatest feats of ancient exploration. Chapter 4: The Eastern Routes: Traders, Warriors, Kings. While Norwegian Vikings sailed west, Swedish Vikings turned east. They traveled along the rivers of modern Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine, becoming known as the Rus, a name that later formed the word Russia. These Vikings built trade networks connecting the Baltic to the Islamic world. They carried furs, honey, and slaves south. and returned with silver, spices, and luxury goods. In time, the Rus established powerful states centered around Novgorod and Kiev. They even served as elite bodyguards to the Byzantine emperor, the Varangian Guard, feared across Constantinople. These warriors carved runic graffiti into the walls of the Hagia Sophia. Their message? We were here. Chapter 5: Daily Life, Beyond the Stereotypes. What did Vikings actually look like? Not like Hollywood. They didn't wear horned helmets. They bathed weekly, far more often than most Europeans. And they took pride in grooming, often carrying combs, tweezers, and hair accessories. Viking women had surprising rights. They could inherit property, request a divorce, run farms, and in some cases, fight. Some sagas describe warrior women called shield maidens, though historians still debate their accuracy. Vikings believed in gods like Odin, Thor, Freya, and Loki. Their world was poetic, mystical, filled with prophecies of chaos and destiny. To die in battle was not a tragedy, it was an honor. Chapter 6: The Rise of Kings and the End of an Age. By the 10th century, something changed. Norse chieftains began uniting their lands into kingdoms, creating Norway, Denmark, and Sweden as we know them today. Kings demanded taxes, outlawed private raiding, and promoted Christianity. The old gods slowly faded. The greatest Viking king was not the Great, who ruled an empire spanning England, Denmark, and Norway, a North Sea empire unmatched in its time. But as Europe strengthened its armies and the Norse adopted new religions and politics, the Viking lifestyle transformed. By 1066, the Viking Age ended with the Battle of Stamford Bridge, one of the last great Viking invasions. The Age of Raiders was over. But the legacy remained. Conclusion: the echo of the North. The Vikings connected continents. They reshaped languages, founded cities, challenged empires, and became legends. They were not monsters. They were not heroes. They were human, brave, stubborn, curious, and relentless. Their ships still echo across the North Atlantic, reminding us of an age when the world felt endless. And when a handful of sailors from the frozen North rewrote the map of civilization. This was the Viking Age.